You're about to listen to Kelly Martin Speaks. I'm your host Kelly, and the author of When Everyone Shines But You, a mental health and self-acceptance blogger and a recovering darkness addict. I have experienced intense anxiety, deep depression and life trauma, but I'm coming out of the other side now. Darkness was a comfort zone for me for a long time, and it felt safer than the light. So in this podcast I share with you my journey into the light and how I move through challenge in an empowering way. I'll share with you tools and nurturing ways to embrace your humanity. I was once a shy, scared introvert, afraid to speak, but that's all changing. Let's take this journey together and learn to fly. Hi there, welcome back to Kelly Martin Speaks. I'm your host Kelly Martin and this is episode 73. Today I am going to talk about succeeding without striving and getting to know our own personal life season that we're currently in. Now, yesterday I was watching a video by someone called Teal Swan on the topic of depression. While I'm not depressed right now, I have experienced depression a lot in my life. She spoke about futility and how often when depressed, we have come to a point in our lives where everything just feels futile. And the reason we suffer is because we resist and fight against this futility. For example, if we wanted our relationship with someone to be different, we could become depressed because we feel that our partner is not aligning with our desire for a better relationship. And instead of accepting it as futile, that we cannot change the other person, there is a little hope in us that we can, and so we resist letting go of this sense of futility and perhaps finding another way to embrace the situation. Now that could be leaving our partner, or it could be rethinking how we view our partner in a more positive light and appreciate what is beautiful in our relationship, not what is lacking. I began to think about the subject of certain areas in my own life and the futility of my own quest. My desire to, for example, not be resistant to flow or receiving in my life. That in a way has become my own resistance, so I'm resisting the resistance. So I've been fighting my own futility, thinking that if I just did X, Y, Z, all of that would change. I realize I need to accept right now in my life things are not flowing in the way I had hoped they would. And to argue otherwise is not only futile but deeply frustrating and could quite easily lead into a more depressive outlook. So what is happening and how can we drop this futility, this feeling we must exert effort or will to be happy, to be satisfied, to effect change? Well, I think that we begin to see that as we live our lives in cycles. For example, you could be in your springtime right now, where the new in your life is just taking root. Or you could be in your autumn, where it is time to let go of what no longer works. Or even you could be in your winter, where it appears nothing at all is happening or changing, but everything is happening beneath the surface. I think I'm in my autumn right now and letting go of the old, so at the moment there is no point me striding forwards trying to exert my will and make change happen. Because sometimes we are in a place of small exceeding, where success in anything from relationships to business, to work, to family, to health is not going to come about by striving. We may have tried striving for so long and are falling into a more depressive outlook. We may be fighting against what is not working and yet still trying to bulldoze our way through what feels like a brick wall right now. Often, when life feels futile, we need to focus on the simple in our lives. Those small things that others may not even notice, but that it is absolutely important for us to notice at this time. And as we focus on the small and simple, we are in a far better place to move or take action at the right time. When we are in a place of instability, we need time to make adjustments. This could be releasing beliefs or releasing people, could be cleaning our home or moving our home around or moving just little things, doing what we can to support our health and well-being. Small adjustments that may have long-lasting effects. It is often a time to not look forward to see where we want to go, but we look to the here and now and see where we actually are in reality. What small changes or focus can we become aware of right now that we need to do? At this time, we, instead of going out into the world to try and will change to happen, we devote our time to accepting that less is more. That we are not to try, for example, convince others or push our will onto anyone else. As frustrating as it can be, we need to be patient, but also to remain open. Remaining open allows us to take new opportunities and directions we would never have thought of during the time when we were pushing forward and striving. And by doing this, we are better able to succeed without striving. Now, succeeding without striving is a very feminine approach to living. Both men and women have this feminine inside of them that we can all draw on. The feminine approach is being receptive, being open, being flexible, so that when our lives begin to turn more towards the summer, when everything is filled with vitality, fullness and possibility being birthed, we can grab it with both hands. Like many, I have spent a long time trying to will my life to change, to no avail. It got to the point where I just gave up trying, and instead I started to take more a day-by-day approach to living. I think sometimes life does this to us. We have tried so hard to get things to change and work that we become so frustrated that it's almost like our own frustration is leading us in the direction of embracing what we have rather than what we're lacking. Now, I'm not always successful at this. In fact, sometimes I am downright rubbish at this. Some days I am in a state of worry or stressed out that I won't be able to take care of myself if I don't just fix X, Y, Z, and you can insert whatever issue you feel you have as a problem with right now. Now, it's easier said than done to simply drop this insistence on striving. Because in this society, we are taught we need to be action-orientated and goal-driven. driving the changes ourselves. But I know from experience, when I do take my hands off the steering wheel of my life, life simply flows far more easily and gracefully. This helps me when I am, for example, spiraling downwards into a depressive episode. To know that the reason I am feeling low and sad or in a real suffering place, that I am fighting what is. I am fighting the futility of something I want not happening the way that I want it to. We all know what this feels like. It doesn't feel great. Sometimes we may take many routes or directions at trying to make life work in this more controlling way. To drop all of this and surrender is a new way, and it's not easy. It sucks sometimes. I understand this. It can feel incredibly hard to trust and have faith, especially if your life has been perceived to have little go the way you have desired. Sometimes we don't have a map in our past to see that things have worked out. But more often than not, we are just misperceiving our past map as being littered with failures, instead of viewing it as being perhaps scattered with stepping stones that lead us to who we are right now and who we are becoming. All worthwhile, all valuable. Your past, while it may have felt painful and hard, when looked at with more wiser and loving eyes, was probably a great journey, a map worthy of a great adventurer, which you indeed are. You just may have a bit of faulty programming that makes you envision it completely differently. Kind of a bit of a smokescreen over your own eyes to the truth of how it actually was and what you learned and gained. If you're honest, you may look back and see many things you wanted in your past were not good for you and may not be something you would choose to have right now. Even at the time they felt the worst kind of experience ever. They happened, but you are still here choosing life. So let's gather together. I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels like this and struggles with this. All of us who may fear letting go of the futile, and instead let's start to allow success without striving, and to get to know what season we are in so we can see that all is well, whether we be in our winter or spring or summer or autumn. And it's meant to be exactly as it is right now. And also know that, we're not meant to be flowering all of the time. That it's okay to be the seed right now, if that is where you are in life. Thanks for listening to another episode of Kelly Martin Speaks. If you have a question or topic you are struggling with and would like me to answer on an upcoming podcast episode, please get in touch. Your name will be kept absolutely confidential. Email me at kellymartinspeaks@gmail.com or message me on Facebook via my page Kelly Martin Speaks. And also this podcast episode and the full transcript is available on kellymartinspeaks.co.uk. So if you feel like you want to comment further, pop over to my website. And also don't forget, if you feel that others are passing you by and the not good enough voice is screaming really loudly, pop by kellymartin.co.uk to find out all about my books, including book 1, When Everyone Shines But You, which I hope in 2020 will be available as an audiobook also. You can also support my channel via my podcast page on my website kellymartinspeaks.co.uk and support me via PayPal as a one-off amount or weekly or monthly. I'm very welcoming of this. Thanks for listening, everyone. Until next time, bye for now. You've been listening to my podcast, Kelly Martin Speaks. I'd really appreciate your feedback. If you're listening on iTunes, please give me a review. It helps me be seen and heard by those that need it. You can also follow me on kellymartinspeaks.co.uk, where you can read my blogs, find out about my book series, and subscribe to my monthly newsletter. I'm also all over social media, so search for me via Kelly Martin Speaks on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. I'll speak to you next week. Bye.